And just like that, it comes down to one final series of the day. Welcome back, everybody, to our latest week of Quake Pro League. My name's Ketchup, joined by DJ Wheat and ZSX. Av3k head-to-head against k1llsen. Another battle of two titans of Quake and two players with rather sizable fan bases. So I'm curious to see the chat room during this series.
Yeah, two people who are on form as well. k1llsen getting back to full force after, for him, a slightly disappointing stage finals. And also Av3k actually, again, after a commanding stage league last stage, not the best finals. So kind of reverse fortunes, but he's been looking amazing coming off the back of those finals still. So continuing his momentum on.
Yeah, I mean, he has been looking amazing. I mean, in his interviews, he sounds like he is, confident and ready to take on this stage 3. And he is up 2-0 with not a single map loss, beating CNZ and Garpy. k1llsen, on the other hand, sitting 1-1 and 1 versus Sparty, had a pretty close series with Wenger, actually, right? Like, I mean, if you saw the interview with Wenger actually said, I was sweating during that series. So this is the true test for Av3k, whereas like k1llsen's kind of had a few brick walls to pound through, like Kool-Aid Man already in this stage 3. So we'll see. I think this is a lot on Av3k now to bring the fire that he has shown in the 2 matches so far and see if he can take it and give us another amazing matchup similar to the one that we just saw.
It's a tall order to ask this series to top the final map that we just had between Cypher and Razy, but if there's 2 players that can pull it off, I'm rather confident that it's Av3k and k1llsen with the way things have been shaping up. Now, as soon as we can, we'll go to the picks and bans and we'll figure out what our journey will be between these two. See if there's anything out of the ordinary, perhaps. Another Molten Falls. Another Slash.
I love it. Slash is back, boys.
Apparently.
Well, that's, again, really interesting. And again, against a Galena, can really abuse the lack of abilities. If k1llsen starts connecting with rails, Av3k could be in a lot of trouble there. So we'll see how that one plays out. But anyway, starting on another XL. Do enjoy that map. It's getting... Now, I think the players are learning different strategies on there. It's always really fun to watch. And k1llsen generally loves to pick Anarchy on there, which he does again. If Av3k can't keep on top of the Anarchy stack and lets him get on the lights and even build overstack, that's when Anarchy becomes really painful. We know k1llsen's rail, if it clicks, that's when he's scary. Ruins, he also loves to pick Sorlag because it gets that favored pick. The Scalebearer gets banned out. And in retaliation, we have the Strog, which is again a decent pick, can match the tempo of the Sorlag, which is critical for Av3k to stay in the game. And then we just mentioned what happens when you have Slashes, Galena, so that could go either way.
Now, continue.
Oh, go ahead.
No, that's fine. Delay always messes me up, but you definitely spoke first. I heard it.
I was just, k1llsen played Anarchy on XL versus Wenger, and that is the map that he ended up winning against him. It was a 1-point game. It was very, very, very close. But it makes me pretty interested to see this one. Now, in our most recent interview with Av3k, he was talking about sort of the philosophy of Quake and equated Quake to this boxing match. And where you see weakness, you go in, but you can't just throw out all the punches and expect to make it all 10 rounds. So knowing that k1llsen likes to up the tempo a little bit and hearing those comments from Av3k last time, just excited to see, especially in that first map, how this is going to play out.
Well, we haven't got to wait very long to get stuck into our first map, as I will bid farewell to everyone for a bit, leave you in the hands of SX and DJ Wheat. Thanks, guys, and see you in a bit.
We'll see you in a bit.
Bye-bye.
Dan, k1llsen versus Av3k. We get the dessert this week for sure.
Yeah, I think last game we saw kind of the players you expect to be like 2 or 3 in the leaderboard, 1 and 2, but on the slightly rusty coming off the back of last season. This time we've got 2 players who are just finding full form. So this is really going to set the hierarchy and the pecking order of where we are in Europe at the moment.
I mean, k1llsen, right? He's had an interesting run the last 10 weeks, right? Had some issues with his eye, was still playing pretty remarkable from my perspective, despite kind of going through some of these things. And, I do think we've seen a turnaround of Av3k. We've certainly, Av3k's always been present but the sort of the greatness of Av3k has been showing itself lately. So you mentioned watching two players play in great form. I think this could quite potentially be it. I mean,
Yeah.
I expect that these two will bring everything that they possibly can here today.
Yeah, but if I think about even way back when, k1llsen's always been a stumbling block for Av3k just because of the pure damage output he brings, which is pretty much unparalleled, particularly with the rails. So he always found a way to manage Av3k's stack, which then limits the power of Av3k, which is his aggression and able to close the gap. And if you're doing it when you're weaker, k1llsen then thrives on that. So interested to see how Av3k plays around that if k1llsen does start connecting, because it could get ugly, and it has been ugly before.
It has been, and k1llsen was going to make a pretty large statement right off the bat, Dan, with a nice rail from so far away. And it didn't result in a frag, but, k1llsen's definitely here. You can just see it in his movement, right? And so I know there's a few people who are like, I can't stand how k1llsen moves and aims and whatnot, but you can just kind of feel the intensity. At least that's how I feel when I watch k1llsen. I like what I'm seeing so far. But Av3k not giving anything up quite yet. Yeah, has taken some damage, but is playing this one smart. In a position, does he have a rail? Right, he does not. So that actually makes it a pretty rough spot here for Av3k.
Exactly, and we could see k1llsen just managing the position of Av3k, so he can't even get near that rail. He knows it's just a matter of time. If he can't get one, he can pick him off. So maintaining the high ground as he does so damn well. This time he does drop onto the heavy, and Av3k uses that time to get onto the rail finally, but in doing so he already eats another one.
And k1llsen's going to pick up that Mega after. Ooh, comes in big. Damage exchange and two massive loads of shotgun buck going right into the head of Av3k, giving k1llsen that first frag. And then once again, you find him in this, like, I'll zone you all day with this rail. And I like what he's doing. Now, he only had 3 slugs, so he's got to be careful about that and will actually move over. He has a good idea of where Av3k is, and k1llsen just playing a very, very smart game. Curious to see what Av3k is going to do, right? He obviously needs to get that arsenal in play. He needs to have all the weapons he's going to feel comfortable with. k1llsen's done such a good job of just, controlling here on XL so far.
Yeah, he doesn't want to engage Av3k. He's respecting the combat, the rockets. Yeah. He just wants to play this higher ground range game. That's exactly what he's doing, just whittling down his opponent from above. And then when the time is right, pushing in. And it's that level of patience that separates him from other players. And obviously, the gift of the Gil with the rail as well definitely helps. What a shot that was.
That was a rat shot for sure. k1llsen still lower than Av3k after that rail comes out. And once again, there we've got both players now with their full arsenal of weapons. We're going to have 7 seconds till the heavy, but k1llsen is just being sniper supreme, just sitting as far away from his opponent as he possibly can to try to hit those shots. Misses that one, and both of our major items are up now. k1llsen is going to go ahead and go for that Mega. Av3k, on the other hand, got himself the heavy, but k1llsen negates it once again, just hitting a great rail. Is at 50% right now. Half of his 14 shots have hit.
But he's just preventing Av3k from making any sort of moves onto the high ground. He's just posturing in the mid ground, hitting Av3k with the rail at any sort of sign of exposure. And then just playing quite happy with one of the major items. He's allowing Av3k to another, and in return, he's just going to do a little bit of damage on the exit.
Yeah, I mean, the big turning point of this game could be a fight that comes out in favor that allows one of the players to kind of set some seconds between these two major items. See Av3k coming out, machine gun, very nicely done. k1llsen does take the majority of the damage on that one. And that might have been the first time that Av3k has kind of forced k1llsen out of this position. He's still holding on to the top level, grabs himself the light as well, looking for a shot on the Mega. There's only 2 seconds separating these two, but here comes the delay of that Mega. Great rocket from k1llsen. He's going to try to lay more on. He gave up both of the major items, but he did get a little bit of damage done. But now that we've got some separation, this next cycle, Dan, could be really interesting depending on what happens here.
Yeah, big split in the items, as you say, is very important for Av3k to keep secure of this, but also k1llsen needs to do some sort of damage. That's why he's sticking around. I'm also liking the weapon switch up from Av3k. He's not been winning out on the rail duels. I mean, he's only fired 3 to k1llsen's 15, but still, he just wants that secure damage. He knows that k1llsen's relatively low. He hasn't got anything beyond the starting stack, so any chip damage actually is huge against him. And so the machine gun, the tri-bolt, the LG caught off guard. Really nice pushing from Av3k. He's wasted the orb as well. k1llsen hears that. That means he's a little bit safer on the high ground, but you can see how tense it is. We're already 5 minutes into this game, and it's only 1-0.
I worry, Dan, that like well, hold on. We got LG from the top. Heavy is picked up, a great rocket bounce, but once again, like, it seems like k1llsen's doing the damage. Av3k is just coming out of these with the better stacks non-stop, and I think that's the thing that scares me a little bit, is that the way that k1llsen is playing, he's actually kind of needing to play that perfect 10-minute game. Now we're 5 minutes in, so he's halfway there, but you can clearly see that Av3k is just looking for that opening, looking for a single mistake to try to bring it back. k1llsen's still up by 1, so he's got the advantage. But I feel like despite the fact that k1llsen's, wow, huge rocket into the rail conversion, and this is it. Could be a big lead right there. Another rocket does come out. He sees his opponent go down to the bottom and is tracking him quite nicely, hits him with another rocket and another, and the shotgun. That, I mean, k1llsen is playing a perfect game right now.
Yeah, he needs to, and he is, as you said, and now he could get onto both major items, once again reading that spawn, and if he picks it up before this item, it could be big. Av3k actually gets out of there, needs to go in to pick it up, and he does, but it costs him his life.
I mean, this is opening up a huge door, whereas like the 1 frag lead meant that k1llsen, right, that's where he needed the rest of this game to be really, really tight. Now that he's knocked this up to 4, he still has to do the same, but he's got room to make a mistake or 2. That wouldn't cost him the game like it could have at 1 frag. And, you know, Ranger kind of taking some control here. But we've got 3.5 minutes left, 5 frags up now, and this is where k1llsen wants to be. I'm worried a bit for Av3k here and his ability to kind of bring it back, especially if k1llsen keeps hitting stuff like this.
I can tell you Av3k is not enjoying this game so far. He's not able to play Quake. He's just being kept at the end of a string here, at the end of a leash. Finally, he can close the gap, which is all he wants to do. But if you look at the scoreboard, he's already down 5. There's 3 minutes to go. He's dead again. And he's fired 1 of 9 rails. He's hit 11%, whereas k1llsen's got 51% at 29 fired. That's been the real defining factor here.
Yeah, I mean, k1llsen kind of putting some time into exile early on, and you can just see his understanding of angles and shots that he can make is clearly far and above a lot of players here in the QPL, and he's showing this off right now. I mean, 6 frag lead over his opponent. It might have started off very, very close, but a lot of those key shots, those perfect rails, and then, you know, I think first 2 frags of him were clean up with shotgun too, so this is looking pretty good here for k1llsen to kick things off in this series with a possible 1-map lead for him.
Yep, and he has played that perfect game. Just hasn't overcommitted for anything. He's allowed Av3k to pick up items and just said, hey, if you want to do that, I'm just going to connect with a rocket and a few rails, and it means nothing. Please go ahead, my friend. Again, this hasn't worked, so what's he going to do? He's just going to retreat into the faraway position and play the rail game, which Av3k has just been unable to deal with.
Doing a dance there around that void. It's a little scary. And I saw a couple people in chat point out that, like, wow, there's not a lot of inject usage here, and I think that's actually been key to k1llsen's play, right? He used the first inject early on to kind of get away and save his own skin, and then he's really only used it as either ways to obtain a frag or ways to prevent Av3k from getting one, and that's okay too, right? I mean, certainly everyone likes those extra hit points there with those clean, constant injects, but I think k1llsen's needed to use his inject the way that he has in this game, and it's clearly showing from the scoreline.
Yeah, the inject is useless in the way he's playing the game because he doesn't want to fight. He just wants to rail, so there's no point wasting it. It's a get out of jail free card in all aspects of the way he's playing. He's just waiting to listen and use those audio cues to where Av3k is, repositioning and then railing and LGing. It's just been a masterclass. He's doing double the amount of damage because he's just out positioning Av3k.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it for all 10 minutes of this matchup. Well, the 9 that have elapsed anyway. But, you know, you mentioned that you know that Avic's feeling frustrated right now. And, you know, I agree. Like, k1llsen is definitely playing the map of Exile perfectly. Things are going to change when we move on to our next 2 maps, Ruins and Molten. Well, I mean, they might change, but clearly k1llsen had a plan going into Exile, and unfortunately, Av3k just not really able to deal with it. There's the GG 10 minutes before the buzzer hits, and that is a concede for k1llsen to take that first map.
I mean, I can't even think of oh my god, a 13% rail, 19% LG, and 10% rocket from Av3k. And that's not because he's aiming bad. It's because k1llsen is
Right.
not exposing himself. And Av3k's forced to spam. He's forced to try and hit incredibly hard shots. But he was the one running the items. k1llsen was just absolutely impeccable on the defensive positioning.
Yeah, there was that moment, right, where we saw the first sort of split between the major items, and to that point, even k1llsen kind of giving it up. But as long as he kept on hitting those long range rails, he was going to be able to put something together here. So really impressive play here from k1llsen, and I know chat very impressed with k1llsen, reinforcing right that he's a beast. Yeah, he may have had you know, a few weeks of less than desirable results, but you just can't write k1llsen off ever.
No. And it goes to show the respect he has for Av3k. Another day, another
Yes.
opponent, he would have been engaging in close combat because he can do it. He's got the skill to do it. But he didn't want to do it against Av3k. He just wanted to stay on the high ground, keep his distance, use the speed of Anarchy to play around that weakness from Ranger. And there was literally nothing Av3k could do. There was that period around just about 2 or 3 minutes where he swatched a machine gun, did a lot of damage, but then the inject comes out, k1llsen repositions, hit a few rails, and we're back to square one.
It's nicely done by k1llsen. 8-1 final score, as you mentioned. Almost 1,600 additional damage. And how much of that was just those peak rails where Av3k didn't even get a chance to fight? That's got to be the tougher ones to do.
Av3k was playing PvE right there. He was just playing himself.
A little bit, yeah. We're going to be moving on to Ruins now, where k1llsen's going to be on the Sorlag, and we're going to have Av3k on the Strog. So switching up a little bit, but I'll tell you what, Dan, like the way that k1llsen was not only utilizing his rail, but holding and controlling the rail, you know, seeing this more and more and more. Look, like zoning and denying your opponent is not anything new, but I feel like we're seeing these players like really, really take it to the next level and making it a focal point of their game, of their strategy. It's not ever going to be a full 10-minute strategy that you can do, but you see it right off the bat in these initial games. Av3k had nothing to fight with in those first 2 minutes in comparison to how k1llsen was going. Let's see how Ruins will play out in that, or if it will in that same regard.
And it's so interesting just coming off the back of talking to Cypher, like the way in which he was saying Razy would rush items no matter what circumstance he was in, whereas the complete reverse is true here. k1llsen ignored items and just maintained positional control. So just 2 completely different thoughts on how to play Quake.
Yeah, that's the beauty of Quake too, right? I mean, it's like boxing again. There's a lot of different styles, and I love to see these styles clash. And certainly, we'll find out here if Av3k can bring it back and keep this win away from k1llsen. We're looking through his eyes on the start here, and the first few moments have now elapsed. And while we've had a few bullets fired at each other, nothing major has kind of happened. And you see Av3k through the eyes of k1llsen, kind of controlling that middle hallway area. k1llsen going to scoop in, grab himself the rail, immediately gets hit off the bat, and then a huge spit to the face, but k1llsen also very, very low, somehow managing to get away. Av3k, it's unfortunate there. He had an opportunity for a frag.
Did. A couple of back-to-back rails followed by a Pika. Suddenly Av3k's got more damage than he had in all last 10 minutes. And there's another rail that comes out, chasing down the Lizard. And this game will not be as passive. This game will be more intense.
Yeah, no armor stack at all for k1llsen here. The Mega is up. k1llsen down on the lower level. This is a little scary. Avic's going to grab that Mega. Spit coming out as he comes down below. Also hits a very nice rail, but k1llsen forced out of there. And Avic's got himself some solid major control here.
Can he make it count? We saw last time he had full control the whole map and it couldn't make it count. So he has to find a way in this time.
Yeah, k1llsen's hit and run style. We just saw it again. Out of the teleporter. Perfect pixel. There's the rail. Will manage to sneak in that Mega. And now will he make his way down to the heavy? Oh, he's thinking about it, but nope. Knows that he doesn't really have the timing or the chance to do it. Going to put himself right outside that teleporter exit, waiting for his opponent. And I like the big brain plays that we're seeing here, Dan, so far. Neither playing wanting to give an inch. And k1llsen really already bringing it home with that rail. But Av3k answering back this game.
Av3k still doesn't have the rocket, actually, interestingly, as well. And he's had plenty of time to pick one up. He finally goes around to pick one up. And k1llsen already set up down below. Slowly, there is also a split building between the two item suites. That might come into play now. We got 7 seconds. Whoever hits the next big first rail or rocket will set themselves up to take full control of this map. And Av3k's the one in position. k1llsen working his way around, trying to get out of this area. But Av3k is patrolling. He's caught him up the jump pad, but luckily k1llsen doubles back just in time. Av3k chasing down, giving up position on the Mega. k1llsen realizing the mistake goes up for himself.
Love it.
Really nice play.
Love it. I mean, knowing when to run and then grabbing the Mega and the flip, as on the flip side is like a very, very smart play by k1llsen. Less armor stack, obviously, but he can make up for that a little bit and continuing to go for this style of play where he's looking for those opportunities to hit those unanswered rails and then working away from there. So Spit comes out in the hallway. Nicely done yet again. Won't chase it. We'll wait for his opportunity as another rail hits. This time, k1llsen might be in the danger zone. Peeker coming down. Can't do the damage. Heavy is picked up. And k1llsen survives. Oh,
and he gets the Mega.
Take both. Crazy.
The level of awareness from both these players is unreal as k1llsen gets away with murder there, but he's also very weak as Av3k's done huge amounts of damage for the pickups. Big item on this heavy coming up. k1llsen's out there very early, but how do you push in now? The Spit's coming off cooldown as well. Av3k has to respect that position.
In Point TV and chat just said, we want frags. And I can tell you that these players are trying so hard, but that is what is so great about two amazing players like this is basically to be able to negate one another out. And not surprising to see that happen here on Ruins. There's the double jump up to the top, hitting that rail shot. k1llsen immediately going to go down, setting up pretty early here for Heavy. But with the amount of time that there is before Mega, I kind of like what he's doing. He's got Spit ready. He can cover both areas. Makes it a harder fight for Av3k. And now big LG damage and rockets coming out. So close as k1llsen goes down, but the Spit helps as well. And k1llsen now on the board with 1.
It's just k1llsen to a T. Just understanding the situation, understanding his limits. More or less on the back foot for the last 5 minutes. Big rockets and the conversion.
What? That was absolutely bonkers. The 94 and then the direct rocket. Av3k already low, even off of the spawn there. The rocket jumps up. Av3k, look, he had no idea where k1llsen was at. k1llsen getting his 3rd frag, and there is absolutely got to be a feeling of frustration coming out here by Av3k as you see him with the stone statue off of the spawn, not moving for a few moments. Kind of asking himself, what has just happened here? What has transpired in the last minute? And k1llsen just suddenly, you could see also the spring in his step, Dan. Yeah. He realizes that there's an opportunity to take this match, even a single frag right now, and there it is in the corner, 4-0, and he may have Av3k's number.
I mean, I know we're already into map 2 here of week 3, but this is the type of form we saw from k1llsen when he was winning championships. That tempered approach, clinical throughout, just doesn't make a mistake. He's got up, no, he missed him. He has to cancel it and he's dead. Oh, man.
Yeah, definitely see what he was kind of going for there. And he will pick up the frag, but the question is 4 minutes left to go, 4 frags, certainly doable. I just think k1llsen, right? He probably just shakes that off a little bit and says, I'm going right back into what I have been doing for the first 5 minutes because it has been working. I mean, it was inevitable that eventually Av3k was going to be able to get one of those frags off of a frag conversion just because he knew, right, his opponent was low, exactly where he was, etc. But now he's still got to worry about k1llsen's rail. He's still got to worry about the fact that k1llsen has well aware of all of the timings here. Will be able to grab this mega and has plenty of time to set up for heavy. And you'd think after a frag, Av3k would be able to take this cycle, but I don't know that k1llsen's going to give it to him.
No, and it's... I mean, 16 minutes in, we finally see Av3k camp. That's how this game has been going. And to get back to the boxing analogy, I'm sure Av3k's sitting there going, how do I lay a glove on this son of a bitch? I can't even find him. I can't even touch him. But he's always picking me off from these random angles. It's got to be so damn frustrating.
It's a situation where, both players, they throw great with their hands, but k1llsen has like a 6-inch reach on Av3k, and there's just not much that Av3k can do right now. And once again, we find him down below. This time he'll be set up for the heavy with plenty of time going to the mega. And I think k1llsen can afford to give up, right, a major item. It's not that big of a deal considering that time is on his side. Now we'll see Av3k make his way up, but he's got to be slow here. I love the spit used as a defensive way to keep Av3k from only coming in from the front. Av3k with a great rail, but will he be able to make anything happen from it? k1llsen just hanging out in the mega room, and looks like he's just did pitch a tent there. He's going to go fishing. He's ready to camp.
And you pick Zorlag, you normally expect a fast-paced brawl, but the way k1llsen plays it again is if you want to push into me, fine, you can, but I've just got a bigger chunky stack than I did on Anarchy, but I will still play exactly the same way. Calculated and positional, and wait until the opportunity is right. You can see the frustration coming out from Av3k that it's almost feels fruitless, and he thrived when he could force the issue and get in your face and have these close combat engagements, and k1llsen just doesn't want to play that game.
Yeah, Av3k unfortunately going to play out these final minutes, but starting to realize that there may be no hope for bringing this one back with only about 90 seconds left to go. k1llsen's looking very comfortable, and he has looked phenomenal. Spit coming out on top of that mega, and again, k1llsen doesn't even need to go for it. He can just sit there and kind of bait out these shots because every second that ticks away is a second in favor of k1llsen. Great rail coming out. Av3k looking for the follow-up shot there, but the rocket jump up will mean that Av3k cannot chase. He'll grab the heavy, but at this point, I think all is lost. It's kind of hopeless now for Av3k. He's just got to look towards map number 3 to try to take a win. I expect to see the GGs coming out here any moment.
I mean, just look at how much damage k1llsen has done. That's how clinical he's been. k1llsen's done 1,800 damage, and somehow he has 5 frags. That's just... when he finds his opponent's going to be dead.
That is nuts. You just don't see that very often. 2,200 to the 1,200. Wow. 5-1 as game 2 goes to k1llsen, and that means he will take the series. But we will have a third matchup. I assume we'll be able to also, that means, get an interview with k1llsen. I'm pretty excited to kind of talk to him just to hear from him directly, right? Where he's at, how he's feeling. I mean, certainly after the display like what we just saw, if this was a tournament game, it one and done, 2-0. Av3k was done, and that would be a huge victory here for k1llsen. Like, we still don't know what was happened, but with the momentum that k1llsen's carrying in the third map, this could be a 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, not only is he winning, but he's clearly getting under Av3k's skin, which is not something you see very often at this level. So he definitely needs to regroup going into map 3, because now he's got to go against the Slash. So if you thought k1llsen was hard to catch before, think again.
Yeah. Yep. And versus the Galena here on Molten. What will this game be like? Will we I don't want to see it, but like, will we see a tilted Av3k, right? He talks about how important it is to kind of measure yourself and keep yourself at it. Oh, that frag right there was so rough. Like just
Yeah.
seeing that Strog look around, like, you know, I lost my mom at the grocery store and I don't know where she is. It was real rough, real rough. But Molten's a new game. k1llsen will take the series. So for those who are making the predictions, 58% said that k1llsen will win and 58% were right. 42% for Av3k. And I would guess we might see things swing heavily in the favor of k1llsen here for map number 3.
More of the same from k1llsen, you know, it's working. And you're even less inclined to push in aggressively as a Slash because you just have less stack to work with. So reminiscent of map 1, I think, in the way k1llsen wants to play. It's a large map. You can play that rail game. You've got the good high ground to press down on the heavy. k1llsen's got the recipe against Av3k, so why change?
I think you're absolutely right. You know, at this point, what it would be signaling to k1llsen is like, I have downloaded Av3k, right? I've put him in a place where he is obviously feeling frustrated. He's taking extra risks that, you know, maybe he wouldn't normally make to try to give himself positional advantage, an item advantage, or even a frag advantage. And that's exactly where k1llsen wants him to be. I'm a little scared to see k1llsen on this Slash, but, you know, I'm hopeful that we might see Av3k still just rip his shirt off and then be like, I'm going full Incredible Hulk on you. I don't know.
I think a lot of people pay a lot of channel points for that.
They will. It's 1 million channel points to make that happen.
I'm sure there's some rich viewers out there that could do that. Go on, boys, pipe it up.
It's 10 million to get ZSX to rip his shirt off. So start saving those.
Watch them come flooding in now.
We've got 13 redeems, and it just so happens that Dan's wearing 13 shirts, so we're in a great spot.
Called my bluff.
All right, well, we're loading up to Molten Falls right now. We'll get going. If you've just joined us, k1llsen has already won the series, but as it is with every game within the regular season of QPL, we play all 3 matches, but it means that we will likely hear an interview from k1llsen at the end as well. We have not yet heard from him, I do not believe, this season, so it'll be nice to get him on the airwaves to talk. And there you hear it, prepare to fight, getting ready to rock and roll. We're here on Molten. k1llsen is the Slash, Av3k is the Galena. Dan, take us away.
Starting on the Slash indeed, and he is just powering towards that rail. Now he's happy, he's got the rail. Can back on towards the Mega and already delaying it, so putting even a larger split than would have been between the first 2 major items.
And I like that. I mean, it doesn't put you at a disadvantage at all. He's already clearing out that first totem. As in the back lower hallway by Heavy. And k1llsen seems like he definitely has a game plan here. Let's see what happens. Now, he has like to choose specific portions of the map and say, this is going to be mine. Right now, just above Heavy, trying to stop Av3k from moving in. Will land a nice rail. Is going to end up giving it up, but will make his way back over to the Mega to grab that. 45 seconds in. Dude, that Heavy is still there. What a huge delay. And in fact, I mean, no idea if k1llsen knows. I don't know if he was able to hear that or not. But now the Mega spawns before the Heavy, and that's probably not what k1llsen is expecting.
No, I don't think he heard it, but seeing Av3k still down on that level at that time, he had no reason to be there beyond delaying it. So I'm sure he's got a hunch.
Very true. Totem eliminated again. And no rail shot able to happen right there. Mega was just picked up. k1llsen's immediately going to go back and now grab that Heavy. Actually puts himself back in the middle first. And I like, you know, a lot of big brain play here. We've got an LG fight in the rail room. Oh, here comes the chase. Oh my God, are you kidding me? The totem explosion coupled with the huge shotgun blast, and Av3k is on the board. Not what I expected, Dan.
Oh, I love that so much. That's like a Venus flytrap. You know, this looks so enticing, but denied.
Huge denied on that one. It was unbelievable. I mean, you saw the speed ramping up, the momentum, the trail goes out. Huge violence intended, but unfortunately, k1llsen stopped short, and that might give Av3k an opportunity here. He's looking for a rail shot, trying to keep that rail out of the hand. Actually, k1llsen has a rail, so he's in good shape. Av3k, once again, though, without a rocket launcher. Not sure what's up with him and no RL, but exchange of rails. And the Mega is going to be up. And Av3k will pop a totem in the back. Doesn't quite go where I think he wanted that to go, but that's okay. Still grabs the Mega and is still up by 1.
First time all series. He's been in the lead as well, Wheat. So let's see if he can hold on to it. He now just has to run away for 7 minutes.
That's it.
Just casual.
No problem. Yeah, casual. Run away from it's like a human trying to run away from a cheetah. It's not gonna, I don't think it's gonna be very good. But Av3k gonna stay on, keeping that pressure on. Both of our major items are up. Huge rails coming out from k1llsen. Get the totem down. Is he gonna grab the heavy? Yes, he will. But he decides to take the rail route, which will means that k1llsen's definitely going to grab that Mega. But he'll set up to potentially try to see if he can attack him. No. God, these rails here from k1llsen, he just always knows where Av3k is about to pop. And he hits another nice one, but Av3k's still in the lead.
k1llsen's on the right side of the map to get this heavy as well, and with another 8 seconds between the major items, if he knows the timing, we'll be able to get across, and this means Av3k's in trouble after losing out on that rail exchange. He can't be in the vicinity, he misses that rail as well. Just look how fast k1llsen's coming in. Overstack is there just in time, and 2 rails, and a third! And a freaking rail rocket to finish him off as well. Clutch.
That was clenching. Is the best word I could put there. Yeah, I mean, the amazing rails coming out, but then, I don't know, the hesitation on that rocket. I don't know if maybe he thought he was a little low. Maybe he thought k1llsen was going to blow himself up. Not sure, but either way, the important thing that happened, he got the frag, and Av3k is up, looking to shut down k1llsen's 3-0 streak against him, picking up his 3rd frag now with a Mega as a reward. We're about to hit the 5-minute mark, but there is still a ton of time here in this matchup.
There is, but we are already seeing exactly why k1llsen was employing the strategy he was. He can't cope with Av3k in these close combat engagements. He can't manage the output. So, you know, now he's not in the lead. He has to be more aggressive than he was in maps 1 and 2.
Yeah, and we're going to see how that will play out for him. Not right there, as a direct rocket does hit, but it's the LG of Av3k that completely cleans up. And huge rocket jump. Thought he was going to be able to land that snipe with the rail. He gets it on the other side, though. k1llsen trying to stay strong there with his LG. Another great rail from Av3k as he avoids the trail.
All of his totems are super vulnerable, and he still had overstack for the last 3 rounds. Like, how is that happening?
I do not have an answer for you. I don't know. I mean, they are literally all right out there, just begging to be hit with a single rocket.
He just ran through 2 of them. That's one way to clear them out.
Oh, he ran through
yeah,
them?
I thought all the damage.
I was looking at Av3k's side. I just saw them disappear. I assumed he just shot him. So, well, you know,
block them.
Whatever it takes, man. Whatever it takes. And we've got Av3k grabbing the heavy yet again. Let's just take a quick look. k1llsen has 11 lights, 5 heavies. Av3k has only 6 heavies, 9 lights. I thought he had more, but of course, Av3k getting more of these Megas as well. And some Tri-Volt coming out there, but gonna go up this jump pad. And, well, what is k1llsen gonna do? I see him trying to hit these rails, but I don't know that he's asserting as much pressure as he needs to try to bring this 5-frag lead for Av3k closer to him.
Looking tough, and Av3k now is just playing through this choke point. We saw last time what time they met here. k1llsen just got deleted, so it is a vulnerable situation for the Slash to push in aggressively through the choke point. He's trying to bait Av3k out, but Av3k's having none of it. He's quite happy to play the distance game and wait for k1llsen to approach him. k1llsen's now got a full rotation of items untouched, but a single rocket or rail will even those stacks.
I mean, damn it seems like Av3k was like, you know what? I should just try what k1llsen's been doing the last 2 games to me. And, well, it was working. k1llsen finally finding 2 of those rails, and Av3k will be up there. But I think with 3 minutes left, Av3k is still feeling comfortable with where he is at, right? Taking those long-range pot shots, trying to control. However, he has given k1llsen both items here. Lands some nice LG into a rail.
Nice.
And that's going to be huge because that, of course, stopping k1llsen's momentum. Does land one nice rocket, but can't really put himself out there because
nice.
when he does, the LG of Av3k makes it frag number 6 and still a 5 frag lead.
Yeah, and Av3k is just connecting more and more. Overstacks up once again, so he can just quite happily play around this heavy and just delay the game once more. And he's just played so well around these choke points, not overexposing himself, barely going through the mid. He's just been going through these back channels the entire time. Wrong weapon choice this time, but he doesn't have the rockets to contest. k1llsen picks up a much needed frag with 2 minutes to go.
Rockets raiding in from both sides, getting ready for that mega. It's pretty early, is gonna have to give up this position, I believe, as the LG comes out and Av3k will get away. Ooh, almost being hit with that rail. He will totem back up, and with 4 frag lead, he should be able to hold on to this one if he just plays a smart game. k1llsen probably looking to shift up in gear to try to chase down Av3k, but still has to be careful because face checking those totems doesn't feel good, but he's got to figure out a way to try to close this 4 frag gap.
But if there's one champion you'd expect to be able to do it, it's going to be a slash. Just the speed, but then suddenly a big stack just disappears.
Yeah,
And
that's where it's going to be
shuts
really
down
hard.
all hopes. Yeah, there's virtually no coming back from that with a minute to go now. That was a big chance, and Av3k weaseled his way away.
I mean, I guess we saw that same thing early on with that first frag where k1llsen's like, okay, now's my chance, and he just walked into the biggest bear trap that has ever existed here on Molten. And they're just friendly trades of rails going on here, but I think both players realizing that this is probably over. Av3k's going to let the respawn timer go ahead and play out on this one just in case. 3 frags. Big LG coming out, and it won't even matter.
Nice.
As suddenly Av3k gets that frag back, and I think every single one of those cells actually hit. Not once, but a second time. Holy moly. That was an amazing amount of damage.
It really, really was. I mean, k1llsen has, 1,200 more damage than last game, but 3 less frags. So it's the way it goes. But no, much better play by Av3k. Like, he was definitely rattled in map 1 and 2, but getting that lead early on definitely helped stabilize and force k1llsen out of his turtle shell to expose himself, and Av3k really capitalized upon that.
Yeah, I mean, we look back now, hindsight, we have the advantage of hindsight and Av3k picking up that, that last game, but that was all about the picks and bans at the end of the day. Let's bring Ketchup back in and see what his thoughts were about it as k1llsen takes this one 2-1. Welcome back, Ketchup.
Hello. I mean, that final map, just making sure my mic wasn't still muted because that's happened a few times in the past. It's kind of nice to see Av3k still be able to pick that up at the last minute, but those first 2 maps were just k1llsen showcasing why he's such a threat, really. The aim, there's just something about k1llsen when he's on fire and he's hitting those shots. It's like, it feels like he just refuses to miss. Yeah, that combo was pretty ugly. I like it.
Nasty.
Very much so. But yeah, that absolute just dedication to just never missing a rail is k1llsen all over, really.
Yeah, I mean, especially hitting the rails when you give your opponent no ability to fire back, right? That's where suddenly that rail percentage got even more impressive, considering how few times Av3k had any chance for retaliation with some of those shots. That's where it gets a little scary.
It's soul destroying, because you are playing a game where you cannot even touch your opponent, and somehow you just feel helpless, and that's just not a good feeling. You feel outclassed, and Av3k is obviously an amazing player, and k1llsen was just on another level for that Exile game. Map 2 similarly, he just managed to keep his distance, but to come back out of that definitely shows the mental fortitude that Av3k has and the pedigree, and exactly why k1llsen played the way he did, because as soon as he wasn't playing like that, k1llsen had his way with him. Oh, Av3k had his way with him, sorry.
Yeah.
And I think at the same time, we're going to just spell, what does that mean for the rest of the weeks, right? What does this say about players' recent form? We know that Av3k, although he suffered a defeat here today, had it in him to, amidst those 2 maps where k1llsen was just on a whole nother level, is able to take that final map, right? So it's going to be 2-1. Definitely ain't as bad as a 3-0 for any competitive player. I know a win is obviously preferred, but if you're in k1llsen's shoes, I'm just kind of wanting to have a catch up with him, right? I know you said we haven't heard much from k1llsen in this stage, but I know that he obviously went through quite a few hardships in the last stage, some health stuff that was, completely out of his hands. And from then to now, being able to kind of get back up on as much of an A game as he can, and is now playing really well. I think a lot of k1llsen fans out there are pleased to see him returning to this form. And a big thing is we're seeing him have fun again. It's nice to see k1llsen having fun again.
Yeah, I think the other thing to point out is that k1llsen has gotten now 2 pretty tough matches out of the way. Not saying that he's got an easy road for the rest of the weeks. That's not what I'm saying at all. But like his matchup versus Wenger was very close. He beat Sparty, and now he's beat Av3k, putting him at 2-1 with like some pretty decent opponents, right? Kind of already faced. So I'm excited to hear what he's got to say.
Funny you should mention that, mate, because we have k1llsen on the line, I've been told. So k1llsen, well done. Well done, well done.
Congrats, man.
Congrats.
Thank you.
So it's really good to have you sort of back on form, especially seeing as, last stage you kind of went through a lot of stuff that was out of your hands. And now here you are in the recent stage, and you're playing really well, all things considered. I guess my first question is a bit more of an open-ended one. Let's have a bit of a catch-up. How are you feeling in this stage? Because I know you seem to be enjoying yourself. You're playing well. How are you feeling about how things have gone?
I mean, I'd say I'm just enjoying things a little more again. Even though I'm still fighting against my eye, kinda.
Yeah.
It's still not the best. Still not what it was. But yeah, what can I do? Trying to deal with it. Trying to give my best. No matter what. And yeah, I'm just glad it worked against Av3k. Not the best approach on Molten though, but yeah, the other 2 maps, I think, especially strategically, played really well. My shots been on point when needed, and yeah, what else I could ask for, to be fair.
My question is actually around that strategies. So leading on from that, was that something specifically for Av3k and the way in which you played this keep away positional game, or like is that a new k1llsen? Like, talk us through what was in your mind for this series.
It was actually yes, specifically against Av3k, because that's also a way he used to play against me. Like he has certain ways to play certain people, and yeah, I just remembered from last stage how he approached the game overall, and it went down to the wire, being in overtime, and yeah, so I didn't want this to happen again. So I kind of made a different approach to that, a little more distance, like you said, and then just rely a little more on my strengths, my ray gun, which worked really, really well, making my shots, and then close the gap and or close the distance and take the lead. And yeah.
k1llsen, congratulations again. Great matchup. Yeah, totally agree. Like when we were watching the first 2 games, we were like, clearly k1llsen wrote a 80 chapter book on exactly what he was going to do versus Av3k, and it worked great. So you mentioned for game 3 that your game plan didn't quite work out. What were you hoping to kind of have happen there on Molten?
The plan was to get like the first frag actually, but he turned it around, having told him to his back right on time, and killing
that was
me
rough,
point blank.
k1llsen. That was a rough one.
Yeah, and then I kind of found myself with nothing, and then items also were split, but he didn't knew about it, so that was the good thing. So I still had an option to get back early on, right after, with the next circle. But yeah, he prepared himself really well there, and knew about how I'm gonna approach him, and yeah, took advantage of that. And that's just the other side. If you just go in like a little too much commitment, let's say, Av3k's gonna turn things around, and that's just what happened on Molten. And really, congrats to him, pulling it off like that, because I also know that he doesn't feel well this weekend, like he has some pain in his back, so hope he's getting well very, very soon, and yeah, give his best again.
Awesome.
A real gentleman's
Congrats.
answer right there, k1llsen. So congratulations again. I think I
Thanks,
definitely
k1llsen.
I speak on behalf of the k1llsen fan base. You know, everyone's looking forward to seeing more matches from you, and you've done a great job of delivering in this stage so far. So well done. Thank
you very much.
Awesome. Well. Even though this has been, I think, one of our most stacked days of all the matches, it's actually felt like a pretty fast day, even though the maps are always 10 minutes. That's a pretty crazy reality, isn't it?
It did. I mean, that happens when there's a lot of action sometimes. So we definitely got our fair share of it today. That's for sure.
Yeah, and it's looking interesting across both NA and EU now, as some players are really stepping up and some players have to look at themselves a bit more. I know that some people were suffering with various connectivity and hardware issues and everything else, so it did make it a little bit disjointed, but it's shaping up to be interesting as we move into the kind of mid stages of this league now.
Yeah, it's mad to me to think that we're still in a kind of more of an early days. You know, we're stage 3's well underway now, but there's just so many matches to get through. Some players have only kind of played a couple, maybe a small handful of games, and so many opponents lying in wait for what's going to be a nice and tidy rest of stage. So, everybody, that is all we have time for this week. I want to extend a whole bunch of the usual thanks. Thank you so much, ZSX and DJ Wheat, for joining me today. It's been a really good time. Thanks you to id, Bethesda, everyone at home tuning in, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, whatever it might be. The hard-working production team behind the scenes making it all happen. Can't be done without you folks, and we appreciate your work very much. Same time, same place next week for another Quake Sunday, top-level FPS action at its finest. This is Quake Pro League, and we'll see you next time. Take care.